Hi, my name is Anna and welcome back to my channel. I have not done a book haul in months, since like March, I think was my last one. I have not been buying a ton of books this year. I have been trying to read as much as I can off of my TBR cart, and I'm trying to bring that number down as low as I can. And I've been doing a really good job of it. But I have acquired some books over the last however many months since my my last book haul, and I thought that I would share those with you. I have some books that I have purchased and added to my physical TBR, but I also have a library book that I recently picked up that I haven't mentioned yet, and I've also purchased a nonfiction and I bought some Bible studies. So we're just going to go through and do all of these. If there are certain ones that you are interested in, I will leave the timestamps below and you can skip around if you would like. So let's just start with some books that I purchased, fiction books that I added to my TBR. Some of these are also books that were gifted to me or I found in a little free library. There's not very many. I think there's 6 here. So let's just start with the first 2. There's actually only 5. Good for me. Okay, here we go. These first 2 I have already read and already talked about. The first one was M.M. Lyon. I think even if I don't purchase any more books this year, or the plan is not to purchase any more books, if I do buy more, it will probably be from this series because I would love to continue those. I loved that first one. And then I bought The Housemaid is Watching. This is the 3rd one in the Housemaid trilogy. And again, also read this and liked it. So next up, my husband actually bought this for me for Mother's Day. I had mentioned in another video that he had bought me my ring light, which was so sweet, for Mother's Day, and he also bought me The Girl Upstairs. I have not gotten to this yet, but I am very excited to have this and to hopefully read this very soon. This book is pretty much about a husband and wife who buy this house and are fixing it up, and as they're fixing it up, the wife starts like hearing things, I think, in the house, or like seeing things happening in the house. Anyway, it's I believe it's a thriller. It is also a Christian fiction, and I am excited to read a Christian thriller. I can't wait to read this. The next book I purchased from a used bookstore. I think I got this for like less than $6, and it is The Heart's Invisible Furies. And this has been on my TBR for a long time. So when I saw this copy, I knew I needed to get it, and it's in pretty good shape. So I was excited. It looks almost brand new. There's like a couple little spots right there, but other than that, this book looks brand new, and I got it for like 5 something. Cyril Avery is not a real Avery, or at least that's what his adoptive parents tell him, and he never will be. But if he isn't a real Avery, then who is he? Born out of wedlock to a teenage girl, cast out from her rural Irish community and adopted by a well-to-do, if eccentric Dublin couple via the intervention of a hunchback redemptorist nun, Cyril is adrift in the world, anchored only tenuously by his heartfelt friendship with the infinitely more glamorous and dangerous Julian Woodbead. At the mercy of fortune and coincidence, he will spend a lifetime coming to know himself and where he came from, and over his many years will struggle to discover an identity, a home, a country, and much more. This, I believe, is based in the 1940s, and it sounds like it is probably a really intense book. This is also the author of The Boy in the Striped Pajamas. So if you have read that book, I actually haven't read the book, but I saw the movie and I saw it once and never watched it again because it was so heartbreaking. Now here I am wanting to read a book by this same author. So I don't know how this is going to go. This is probably going to, I'm assuming, make me cry. But anyways, if you have read this, I would love to know what you thought of it because I haven't heard anybody talk about this in quite a while. I think that this was on a lot of people's radars when this first came out. Yeah, I haven't heard anything else about it since then. So if you've read this, please let me know what you thought of it. And then the last book that I can remember that I have acquired was Between Sisters by Kristen Hanna. This I found in a little free library, and I actually don't really know anything about this, but it's Kristen Hanna and it was free. The hope is to eventually read all of her backlist, and so of course I was going to pick this up. This does not tell me anything about the book except that it is about sisters. So I don't know what this is about, but I picked it up anyway. Those are the fiction books that I have purchased or been gifted or found for free. And then the other day I went to the library to return my library books and I walked out with a single book. It was honestly really nice walking into the library and getting one book and leaving. And that was Dawn's Prelude. So this has been on my TBR for a while, and the plan was to purchase this, but it was sitting there in my library. And I believe I had looked for this before and they actually didn't have it at the time. My library didn't carry it at all. So I think that this was like newly added to the library. Anyways, I saw it and I was really excited. So I picked it up. I don't know if I'm going to read this now or if I'm going to end up returning this and purchasing it later on. Probably not this year. But the hope is to read this soon because this is actually something that really interests me at this moment. And I believe it takes place in Alaska, which that is one of the places that I am really interested in when it comes to books. If a book is set in Alaska, I'm just immediately drawn to it. There's certain locations that I feel like draw me to books, and that is one of them. So this is on my list for hopefully soon, and I have it, I think, for a couple more weeks. Hopefully I can get to that one. Moving on, I have one nonfiction that I have purchased. That is Where Prayer Becomes Real, and this is by Kyle Strobel and John Coe. Correct me if I'm wrong. Future Anna, put it on the screen if I'm wrong. But I think Kyle Strobel, I believe, is the son of Lee Strobel, who wrote The Case for Christ. I am always interested in topics on prayer or like books or Bible studies or what have you. I like the idea of diving more into prayer because I feel like there are so many questions that I have about prayer, and I don't know, sometimes it's hard for me to wrap my head around that God knows what we need before we even ask him, and we're still called to pray. And I know that part of it is for us. The prayer is for us and to build our relationship with the Lord. There's so much to prayer. It's not just asking for something that we need. Sometimes it's just talking to God. That's it. Sometimes I sit down and I'm just there to talk to God and to not even necessarily ask for something that I'm in need of or pray for anything specific, but to just be in communion with him. And I don't know, I feel like there's so many things that I have questions about with prayer, and this is sharing something very personal, but I had mentioned before about losing our daughter, and we prayed and we prayed for her, and our church prayed for her. My in-laws church prayed for her. We had so many people who were praying for our daughter, and we still lost her. And I feel like there's just so much that I have questions about with that, and why God wants us to pray even though he's still going to say no to things. I don't know. I know that sometimes it's about trusting him and trusting that his plan is ultimately better. Sometimes I struggle with prayer, just understanding it. And sometimes it's so easy. It's just easy to sit down and talk to the Lord. I don't know. Yeah. So books on prayer are fantastic. That's all that I'm really trying to say. I love reading about prayer and studying about prayer and learning more about it and how Jesus taught us to pray and taught his disciples to pray and how he wants us to pray. So that's that book. I saw it and felt like that was something that I wanted to pick up. So I'm hoping to get to that at some point. I feel like that's all of these things. Okay, so moving on to the Bible studies that I purchased. The Daily Grace Co. was having a sale at one point. I feel like they're always having sales, but they're having a really good sale, I think around like 4th of July or something like that. I knew that I wanted to purchase a few, just different Bible studies on things that I wanted to study for the rest of the year. This will be my only Daily Grace Co. haul, I guess. I'm not trying to like stock up on Bible studies. I specifically chose ones that I think I'm going to work through this year. The first one, I just realized I left it out in the kitchen, I think. So I'll maybe put like a little picture here or something. But I got a study on rest. Something my husband and I have been talking about is what rest should look like for us and what the Sabbath should look like for us. So I got this study in the hopes that that will kind of give me some sort of direction for that. I know that it doesn't have to look any one specific way, and it's obviously personal between you and God, which is why we've kind of, I don't know, been talking about that and trying to figure out what it is that that looks like for us. So I thought a study on rest would be perfect, and I'm actually working through that one right now. That is why it is not in here. Forgot to grab it. Also, going off of like the prayer thing, I did get a study on prayer. So pray, cultivating a passionate practice of prayer. So I thought this one would also be a really good study for me to do. This one and the other one are topical studies, but I am still wanting to do a couple more deep dive studies of specific books this year. And so I bought two. I knew that I was going to need a short one in order to get through these. And so I thought Ruth would be good. I believe this is a 3-week study. I haven't read through Ruth in a while. I feel like every time that I read through Ruth, it is just really encouraging and really sweet. And I am looking forward to going through a study on this. This is a 4-week study, actually. So 4 weeks. I think I can definitely fit that in somewhere in between all of these studies that I have. The next, I think this is the last one that I purchased, but it is a study on the book of Romans. It's called In Christ Alone. Our church recently did the New Testament in 90 days, and I think that was before Easter, so we started reading it and then ended it. It ended, what am I trying to say right now? We started that study before Easter and it went up until Easter Sunday. And I did that and I loved it. And I was reminded of how much I really love Romans and I wanted to study it more closely. And so I thought this was the perfect opportunity. So I purchased that one. And then I think for like the free shipping, I needed to add one more thing. And so I did the little book, 31 Days of Prayer for My Children. So it has like guides for each day, just like different topics to pray on. And it has a section for younger children and older children. And then you can write your prayers in here. And I just thought that that was just a really sweet addition to this. And it was only like $4 or something, $4 or $5. So I added that on. Those are all the things that I've purchased. I am really excited about my Bible studies. I am enjoying the study on rest right now. So once I finish that, I think I'll do maybe one of the specific books. But anyway, I have really liked reading off of my TBR this year and not purchasing a lot of books. I'm glad that I haven't acquired a ton of new ones. And my TBR cart, I don't know if you can see it over there, is starting to dwindle. So I have open space on both shelves at the moment, even with these on there. So that is really exciting. And I'm hoping to get through as many of these as possible this year. I don't think I will be doing another book haul this year, which means I probably will not be purchasing any more books. That is the goal. That is the plan. As silly as this sounds, when I went into the library to return all of those books that I had gotten, I looked around and just picked up this single one and left with this single book. It was honestly so inspiring to me. The idea of having no books on my TBR and to just be able to go into the library and pick up a book, or even go to like the used bookstore and pick out a single book and take it home and just read it right away, sounds amazing. And that is, I think, the ultimate goal for me, to just have no books left on my TBR cart, so that if I finish a book and I want to read another one, I can go out and pick up a book and bring it home and read it, and not have it just sit somewhere and then not actually get to it. Yeah, as silly as that is, that was for some reason very inspiring to me, and I really want to get to that place. This is just something that I want to do for myself. I would love to get all of my books read so that I can do that. And I can just walk into a store and be like, I want to read that one, and pick it up and take it home and actually read it. That's just kind of where my mind has been. Anyway, it's been really nice just seeing my TBR cart getting smaller and smaller. So I hope you enjoyed this. Maybe you found some books or Bible studies that sound interesting to you. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Oh my gosh, I think that's a spider. Is that a spider? It's okay. It's not a spider. Okay.